so much going on at the City Council.
Yeah.
And want to start off, how can we not, with City Council President Luisa Ponte stepping down, a void in the presidency. Are you interested in the presidency?
I am not. I think we have a great leadership team that's already set up, and Acting President Matos is doing a great job in running the council meetings.
So, acting president, how are things going to move forward to see something more formalized?
Yeah, well, that's a good question, Kate. And I think right now what we're doing on the council is we're focusing on the work that's before us. And that includes the budget, that includes the capital improvement plan, that includes, passing, it has passed now, but CDBG and the like. So we're making sure that we're focusing on the work that's before us that needs to get done. And then the leadership, structure will work its way out.
Well, so we will take a look at that. And one of the reasons I wanted you in today was the announcement yesterday that the working group in the Community Safety Act had come to sort of a new version with the police, with all the stakeholders. You were on that committee. Wanted to talk with you about that. I mean, it took so much public attention in terms of what had been going on. And of course, this was the legislation the ordinance that had been, 3 years in the making in terms of addressing sort of police-community relations. Got approved on the first vote. Everything fell apart on the second vote. Said that there was going to be, a working group to look at this. I think some of the folks who have been pushing for it weren't very optimistic that something would come out of it. So talk to us about the process from that version.
Well, I think a lot what you might experience here on live TV, it's not scripted when it comes to council votes. And yes, there was a change after or during that second vote, but it did prompt, I think, a very constructive and productive dialogue with the working group. And what we were able to do, and one thing that we established, I think, from the very first meeting within that working group, was to focus on the four corners of the document itself. For better or for worse, there was a lot of information out there and to a degree, a lot of misinformation out there. And I think having the opportunity of working with the great people who served on the working group, we were able to, cut through the misinformation and focus on, again, what was before us in the document, which is now being coined the Providence Community Police Relations Act.
Do you think that was just an important piece of the puzzle? When we saw the attempt at the second vote, a huge turnout by off-duty police officers, do you think getting clearly the need to get more of their buy-in was necessary to get this to move forward?
Yeah, and to be quite frank, I think it was also important to make sure that we were getting the buy-in from the public and the community, and the police are part of the community. I think I've made clear that I support the good work of our police department, led by Chief Clements and Commander Verdi, and I also support the work and the sentiments of the community, and we're all in this together.
So because it passed that first vote and then the second one didn't actually take place, for this new amended version, will there have to be two votes or just one?
Yeah, that's a good question too. And so what we needed to be sure was if there were going to be amendments, and there were, that they weren't substantive.
Okay.
What they were doing in the amendments is we were clarifying a lot of things. So for instance, if there was reference to gender specific, we made it gender neutral, and other things that, if anything, was perhaps massaging the information more so than anything that would be considered a substantive change. So had there been, yes, we would need two more votes, but because there's not, no.
But even just changing what the title of it isn't considered substantive?
No.
Because it's just a name?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, very good. Well, we're all keeping an eye on that. That was such a big issue at the council level. Let's talk a little bit about the budget.
Okay.
What's not to talk about the budget? What do you like in the budget, and what are sort of the major issues that you think might be some contention?
So, look, the good thing about the budget is that we are continuing on incorporating portions of the budget that don't count on one-time revenue sources. And I think Mayor Loris has been very good to focus on that when he proposes budgets. When it relates to the council, we're working in conjunction with the administration to ensure that we continue to be on the path that we're on to get us onto stronger financial footing for the city. We're looking at, for the first time in a long time, not only an operational surplus, but also this coming fiscal year, paying down completely the accumulated debt for the city. And so we're not out of the woods yet, but we're definitely on the right path. And I think as long as the national economy stays steady, we're going to be doing good here. Because there's a lot of good things that are in the pipeline for Providence, and already shovels in the ground too.
Talk to us a little bit about that. Where do you see the sort of, is it the hotels? I mean, what do you think is the really sort of the big opportunities for the city in terms of construction and where we're at?
Yeah, so I mean, you can see a lot of construction projects going around. For instance, you've got the Fogarty building, which to many was considered an eyesore. And whether you like the style of architecture or not, it was more so because it was vacant for so long and just not utilized, and became a sore spot on the street. You go by it now, it's completely gone. Soon we'll see a hotel rising there, and there's 4 or 5 others that are rising throughout the city. You take some of the company announcements that have come, for instance, like we have Johnson & Johnson, we have Virgin Pulse, we have GE Digital, which, look, the headquarters was moving from Connecticut no matter what, and it was probably less likely that they were going to land here in Providence, but I think we arguably got the better land in GE Digital. And if you ask why, I'll tell you that GE intends to turn the GE Digital division to be, by itself, a top 10 software company in the country. We're talking about companies that would be like comparable in size to Hewlett-Packard. And this will be a division of GE, and we have one of their main centers here in Providence. I think it's just nothing but upward mobility in regards to
any concerns maybe for where GE stands right now? There is some comments made by Jeffrey Immelt this week about the potential for digital. That's just one of the companies looking here in Rhode Island. And you talk about the Fogarty building, as you kind of joke about, whether you liked it or not, sort of that big example of something, as you said, an empty building. And as we stand here and we're looking at the Superman building, is anything ever going to happen with that? Talking about a symbol of something that's remained vacant and just so public.
It's one of my favorite buildings, and actually I like this view of it from your studio here, Kate.
We always point to it. We're going to turn the camera around someday. I think we can see the Falcon up there.
Yeah, we can. And the truth of the matter is, my contention is that yes, we are going to see a productive reuse of that building, and that building needs to be productively reused. That is the defining building in our skyline. If you know Providence, you know that building. And there's no reason why we can't get a substantial employer in there. And if they're going to turn it into mixed use, that might also incorporate some residential and retail. But we have companies like PayPal that are still sniffing around. They have not made a decision yet where they're going to locate, and there's no reason why they can't locate in a building just like that.
So we've had Bill Fisher in here before, the public relations representative for the owner, always concerned about what's going to happen next with the building. And of course, when there's empty space, there's always talk and speculation of the nonprofits. And of course, the nonprofits, and the mayor's indicated that the city might have to, again, go back and reevaluate the arrangements that it has. Do we need to get more out of our nonprofits?
I think we have a very symbiotic relationship with our nonprofits. And, the short answer is that, yeah, we need to maybe reassess the relationship and see how we can come to agreement on things that would be mutually beneficial to both the nonprofits or the tax exempts and the city. And I think if we sit down around a table, we can talk about ways in which we can figure out growing together.
But needs to have those conversations.
Absolutely.
Okay. So let's see. We've talked about the Community Safety Act. We've talked a little bit about the budget. What else would you like folks to know that's going on at the council level right now that would, pertain to them that you think they should be aware of?
Yeah. So I think one of the most important things that we're looking at is that the City Council is steadfast in its determination in making sure that we are on a path to fiscal stability. And again, I think it's starting to show, because again, this will be the first year where we're seeing an operational surplus and paying down our accumulated deficit. And we will continue to focus on our financial priorities to ensure that we have a place that you can live here, raise a family, and locate or expand a business. And we'll be doing well here in the city of Providence.
So last thing about the city, as I get hit here by some kind of breaking news that we have up on Go Local. As you know, the issue of Blue Cross and their current location in Providence, taking some jobs to East Providence, just asked for a double-digit rate increase, and they're a sponsor of Newport Polo. Could some of the healthcare organizations be better partners to the city and the state?
Yeah, so we know that the healthcare issue is difficult issue nationwide, and we're one component of this larger national issue. Blue Cross is a great partner in the city. They employ a lot of people here. They obviously have their headquarters and a visible presence, and I value that. But I am also open to discussion with them. It's unfortunate that they made a decision to move jobs out of the city when I think they could have relocated them within the city, but there's no saying that future job moves or expansions from Blue Cross can't be right here in their home city.
Can't happen here. So speaking of here in the city, we've got PVD Fest coming up this weekend. Are you going to go?
Absolutely. And, I love PVD Fest, and I think it's one of the things that we're very fortunate to have been able to see it in its nucleus, in its infancy. And I think what we'll be seeing is just in a few short years, it will be a festival that's on par with things like South by Southwest. This can be the North by Northeast version of festivals. And this year, too, on Sunday, there's going to be a great component of it in my neighborhood at the Crescent Street Armory, which is a big deal. I mean, if anyone hasn't seen the inside of that building, it's truly spectacular. And although it might be physically located in the west end of Providence, it's everyone's armory. It's everyone's castle.
So you're going to be there on Sunday for the event
Absolutely,
at the Armory.
and I'll be around downtown otherwise. So I'm very much looking forward to it. It's a great festival.
So what do you like best about summer in the city?
Actually, I love summer in Rhode Island, and that includes summer in the city. Things like Waterfire, things like meeting up with friends and having a bite to eat at Di Pasquale Plaza, which is a touch of Europe right here in Providence.
And they're having a big summer festival coming up.
Yeah, it's coming up at the end of June.
Yep.
That's right. Yep. And then the Federal Hill Stroll's coming up too, which is always wonderful. I love the music festivals. I love the fact that there's a Providence to Newport ferry now, which if you get the opportunity to do, you feel like you're on vacation as soon as it's pulling away from
getting on the boat.
dock. It's really amazing. It is.
I know people who've taken the ferry and just turned around and gone on a round trip. Didn't even get out of Newport. Just literally were like, bring a cooler, get on the boat.
What's better than being on the water in Rhode Island in the summer,
why do we have to get up? We just spend money. Why don't we just go round trip on the boat?
That's really good.
There's some creative minds here in the city and the state.
There is.
Well, I appreciate your coming in again with everything going on at the council level. Wanted to talk about leadership, the Community Safety Act, the budget. Always appreciate keeping the lines of community. Councilman Bryan Principe.
I
appreciate it. Thank you so much.